Hey everybody, it's Hans again, sitting in the dark. I get to sit in the dark in the van on Tuesday nights. Being my kids are at their Awana program at their church, learning Bible verses, and a lot of times this is the time where I like to compose music, or I'm working on something else for school or lesson planning. But tonight I just wanted to sit and talk for a little bit and see what happens. But some people might ask, well, why are you doing all of these posts all the time, and why are you doing all the social media all the time? And honestly, it's just I'm practicing, and I'm seeing if I can get really comfortable doing all this stuff. It can be really intimidating to just sit and talk to yourself in your car for a long time. And I don't, some people are like, well, why would you want to get good at something like this? Well, it's something that is an experience that you can use in a lot of different contexts within businesses or within your school, and honestly, recording yourself and listening to yourself talk, you're going to start to notice things that are really, really annoying, and then you start to learn how to stop doing some of those non sequitur e's all the time. So I'll just sit and talk for a while, and then what's really cool is that if I take a super long video, there's some programs out there that you can use that'll kind of condense it into the most interesting bits or whatever. But the stuff I just want to talk about is the things that have happened and the things that I'm looking forward to for this next year. And it's a bit of a long journey that I want to keep going, and it's not something that you want to give up on either. So, but this last year was a very busy year for me. We had a lot of things happening with all of this. We were kicking off our composing stuff with some performances at the local college here, and then I was able to do some arranging for our marching band and helping them out a little bit. And then I always do arrangements and stuff for my own marching band and kind of tweak everything and make it sound and feel like how I want it to. And so I've been just getting a lot of experience, and then I've had a lot of pieces that I've been just writing to practice composing music. We did 10 pieces this last year, and just kind of seeing what I could do and how much I could do and practicing. And then I built a big, whole website and figured out how to do all of that. On top of, we finished them by I say we a lot because it's my wife and my kids, and they're all a part of this too, even though I don't ever show them, but they are supporting all of the things, even though it might seem a little silly to them sometimes. But we finished our masters, which was a really hard, big thing. And it was literally every night for a year till 12 a.m. just doing assignments and research and homework and reviewing class videos and things. And it was all asynchronous, which was nice, so I could just do it whenever I had time. But it was literally the only time I could do it was when it was super duper late. Because that's when everybody went to bed and I could just focus. And we just had our youngest daughter born this year as well. And so we have she's now 8 or 9 months old, on top of our 5-year-old and our 3-year-old. And it's just really a lot of littles, which is exciting. And I'm trying to just be home and be present all the time with them as much as I can. But it can be hard with the job that I get to do as a high school band teacher. But we're trying to make it work, and I think it's really enjoyable. It was nice to have 2 weeks off where I could just be home and see them and play with them and sing songs and do all those things that you really, really like to do. But we had that addition to the family, and then we had some hard things happen with my family, and we had a funeral and some other things. And so it was a lot of different types of challenges there that we've been kind of navigating. And, but I think it's been okay. And obviously I'm kind of crazy, and I'm doing all of this other stuff because I can. and I want to, and it's enjoyable to me, and it can be a way of eventually of maybe earning a little bit of money. I always like to say we're trying to earn a little bit of diaper money, or a little bit of wipe money, or get my kids better clothes or something. But these are skills that the music stuff and the teaching stuff are skills that I've been working on and developing, and something that I think that God has called me to do. So I want to try to do the best that I can and to learn. I enjoy learning. And so it was cool that this summer I got to work at the local music store, and the owner was very gracious in allowing me to come in sparsely throughout the summer and to learn how to fix instruments. And there was another like master music instrument instrument repairman who would come into town, and he showed me so many tricks to make things go a lot easier and a lot faster, and it really helped develop my confidence. And so now I fix all of our instruments at my school as much as I can, now that I know what I can do, and now I know how to do it. And so that's been really helpful for students, because now they can just play their instruments and they don't have to worry about waiting forever for their instrument to come back, if I can just fix it pretty quickly. Although we did have a thumb trigger on a French horn just explode off of the French horn for some reason. She was using it and then it just popped off and the soldering came off. I was like, I cannot fix that. I'm sending that in. I don't have the tools to do that. Or I had to send in a bunch of sousaphones after our marching season. It's just been a long time since they've been cleaned or fixed. And so they're super dented and super gross. And so I know that they have the tools to do it, but they're still, I think, working on figuring out, getting some more help at our local store. And they do a good job. I really like working with them. And so, but that was a really nice thing. And, it took up a little bit of my summer, but I think it was worth just developing some of those skills. And I think encouraged me to even do more. And so recently, I've been doing a lot of research, and we figured out a way for me to get my hands on some piano tuning stuff. And so I've been experimenting and just learning how to tune pianos, and it's been really an interesting thing to me. And it's kind of fun. It just takes a lot of time, but I kind of get into a little bit of a meditative state when I'm sitting there tweaking on piano tuning pegs and seeing if I can get it. There's some really good tools out there physically and technology wise that really make things more accessible to regular people. So the number of piano tuners in my area is pretty low, and a lot of times they're booked out a couple weeks or even a month or a few months in advance, just because there's so many pianos and not a lot of tuners. And so I figured, well, I can learn how to do that. I'm a piano player, just like you're a guitarist. And you play guitar, you tune your guitar. I play piano, I should be able to tune a piano. And so the piano, generally, if it's really super out of tune, it'll take longer. And if it's closer, or if it's been tuned more regularly, it won't take as long, just because you don't have to tune it a bunch of extra times. Because you have to, if it's really out of tune, like the one at our house, I had to just get it close-ish to the right pitches for all 88 keys. And then each key on the bottom has one string, but then it gets to 2 strings and then 3 strings. And so it's 200 and whatever strings. So it takes a long time to even just get it up to the close enough to where you can actually then fine tune it. And so the more out of tune it is, the longer it takes, because you have to do all those extra steps. But if it's closer, then you just are only doing fine tuning. So if you're doing only fine tuning, it probably only takes about an hour. But if you have to really get it back from a long time not being tuned, it takes 2 hours or 3 hours. Pretty much an hour for each tuning. So if you tune it twice just to get it close. But I've got some sticky keys that I've discovered, and I'm researching how to fix sticky keys. You just have to remove the action of the piano, which I could do, but I want to make sure I've got the right tools for that, which is just the only thing I'm missing right now is I just need some lubricant, some piano lubricant, so I can get in there and oil some of the things that are a little bit rusted and old. But it's been nice to have a closer in tune piano at home for me and for my son. He's learning how to play piano. I've been teaching him as much as I can. We haven't been doing so good over break, but we've tried to have it. We want to have it so that way it's every Sunday, because that's when I generally won't have anything for work. And then we try to treat it like a regular piano lesson. So I'll teach him for 30 minutes. I'll have my wife sitting there taking notes, and then if she can, and then we'll set up, a schedule of what he should do every day and what parts out of the books he should do and all of that. We're doing the Suzuki book, which is the book I learned out of. It's a really good book. It has a lot of good fundamental stuff and some things you can work on, posture and technique. And there's a lot of resources online for the recordings and just some good tools so that I don't have to be there the whole time. If my wife wants to do it on her own, she can. But that's been kind of fun. He really likes to play piano for now, and it's a really good skill for anybody to learn, and so I think we're just going to keep going. My youngest son, Ezekiel, he's not really old enough to do it yet. He's 3, so we're going to wait till probably 5 before we start him on it. So, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff this year. My car was giving us trouble. It gives us trouble every year. It's I don't know, it's a special car. That's all I can say. But there's been some hard stuff going on, but I think that the best thing that you could do is to lean on the people who love you. And there's a big part of why I'm able to do what I do because of my faith. I try not to stress about things too much, even though people around me might say I stress out quite a bit, which I probably do. But we're getting ready for spring semester, and I know that I'm not the only person who's getting ready for spring semester. There's so many of us who are going back as teachers. Our first day with students is tomorrow, and as a band director, there's a lot of stuff we got going on, and a lot of just things that we do in the spring semester, and then things that we also have to plan for the fall semester right now. And so for me, I'm always trying to be like 3 or 6 months ahead of myself. Sometimes I can get a year ahead of myself, but that's a little bit hard. Sometimes it's kind of pushing it. But we got a couple of basketball games this month and next month, so we got about 6 basketball games. I've got a group of students that we have in an auditioned pep band, so it's just a core group of like 10 kids that are committed to being at all of the basketball games, and then we can add in other students who want to do it. It's really nice, so we don't have to require all students in the band program to be at all the basketball games. We can have the ones who really want to be there, really excited to be there, and then everybody else who just wants to come. And I offer lettering credit for those that want to be there, but I know that so many of them have jobs or other things they want to do, and so I want to respect their time. And then so we got basketball games, and then we're doing all of the solo and ensemble preparations. We get to do a solo and ensemble in my area, which is really nice. And I was looking at the signups that my students did. I think I have about 18 solos or ensembles, which isn't a lot, but it's about that's about the normal amount I have for my students in school every year. We have about 80 to 90 kids in my band program, and we're at a pretty big school. It's not a really big band program numbers wise, but they do a really good job mostly. And so, that's a pretty good percentage. And so we'll get all the music sorted out, make sure they're ready to go, and try to provide them opportunities to practice if we can. But that's a really nice thing we do in February for the band students, and then they have the choir and orchestra ones as well. And during solo ensemble time is an opportunity for me to accompany students on piano, and I'll accompany my students if they need it, or other of my partner programs or other students in the schools in the district. And it's another way to just make, for me, a little bit of money, and then just make connections with some of those middle school students. I don't charge them a whole ton of money because I know it's really hard in our area, but you know what, my family could use a little bit of the money, and it's nice to be able to help them out. If they were hiring a regular or another pianist, they would charge way more than what I do. And so it's a nice thing to be able to do. And I enjoy playing piano and accompanying. Actually, accompanying is one of my favorite things as a musician to do, because you're not the main thing, so the pressure's not on you, but you still get to participate and make great music and try to make that other person sound really nice. But it's really simple stuff for the solo ensemble, so it's not a big deal. And then all during all that time, we have our high school concert band festival that we're getting ready for in March. And so we're getting our pieces practiced and making sure we're cleaning it and getting it to sound good, and learning about the composers and learning about the style and the expression and the story of the piece and making it our own. And so we generally do about 10 minutes of music for my upper level group. We're allowed 20 minutes on stage, so I try to do a little, like 10 or less with the upper level group, and then like 7 or less with my younger group. I have 2 concert bands, and generally that gets them, some contrasting pieces of music to work on, so we're not getting bored, but also it's not overwhelming them with a ton of stuff, because they've got a lot going on that they need to work on. I don't want to stress them out too bad. And I'm in the opinion where I'd rather play less music that's easier music and play it at a higher level than try to play super hard music and have it just sound, really dirty. It's not fun to do. It's not fun to play. It's not fun to perform. It's not fun to listen to. Hard music played poorly. And so I don't know why we would do that. It's a thing for band directors, and for me it's a thing where we wish we could play some of these pieces, and we feel like we should be able to do them, but then we don't look at reality and what we're able to do right now. But I think that we can keep those pieces in our minds for later. And so that's some of the things I've been able to pull out too, is just some of the pieces that I've always wanted to play. I finally have some of the students that I can play with, so that's nice. And then at the end of this month, we do a nice convention in my state that I go to for a couple days. They have exhibits, and they have lots of clinicians and classes, and just a lot of time we get to hang out with other band directors in the state and just share some of the struggles and share some of the successes. And our state's really nice. Most of the band directors are really kind to each other and are willing to help and share. And it's just good that you kind of develop friendships with everybody, even though, some of us are all the way on this side and others are all the way on the other side. And just to encourage each other. And I think all of us kind of need a little bit of a lift, just kind of to boost ourselves through the end of the school year too. So all of that's happening, and then I've got a wonderful color guard instructor who's got ourselves a winter guard, and she's been growing that program like crazy. We've got a ton of girls and guys in there, and they are working on a program, and they're going to be traveling to a couple of competitions, so I'm going to be trying to help them with some driving and some scheduling and coordinating and busing and hotel and food and all that stuff. And we have a ton of fundraising we got to do, guys. It's insane the amount of fundraising that it takes to run the program in a way that is going to best benefit students, at least to provide them with the opportunities that I like to. It takes a lot of money, and many of my students are not able to pay it all out of pocket, and so we fundraise a lot. And one of the things I still need to work on right now is to get all of our private instructors coordinated, because I like to hire people to come in and work with my groups. Many of my students just can't afford the time and the money and they can't physically get to a private lesson on their own. So I pay the private instructors to come to my school, and we just have them take sections of my band out of class. Like, okay, all of the, trumpets, go work with the trumpet guy today. All right, all the percussion, go work with the percussion person today, and whatever it is. And it really is a good thing. I think students have really appreciated having a master on their instrument, being able to show them techniques and good, skills and fundamental things that they can do to just sound better, and, some takeaways for them. And it has inspired some of them to take private lessons, which has been an encouragement. We had a couple of students make it into our all-state band this year, which is the second year in a row for our school, which is very exciting. I've been here for 9 years, and it's been the past 2 years we've gotten kids into all-state bands, so it's been really exciting to see some of those things happening. And so I think that can be, I don't take any credit for any of that, except for just maybe providing the culture to encourage students to, do that, because they're pushing themselves to practice, and I just sit there and record it and submit it, and they do amazing. And so it's really awesome to see. We've got a lot of things that are going to start happening at my school soon. They're going to start remodeling and knocking down sections of our school and rebuilding, and so we're going to have a bunch of construction equipment and a lot of weird stuff going on, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen necessarily, and so I'm just trying to batten down the hatches and kind of prepare for anything, and nail everything down, and just kind of make sure that I know what I can do, or have a couple of plans. And the biggest concern with all of that is just for marching band rehearsal, if we're going to be able to use our spaces or not. And we're still figuring that out, but I'm sure it'll be fine. We can be pretty flexible if we need to be. We've got some pretty good partner programs. If we need to go use some of their spaces, they're usually very helpful and willing to do that. But if anybody has any advice on how to manage life through a reconstruction of a school, that'd be super helpful. But I've been working a lot recently on getting our band space to have a bit more of music terminology on the walls, so that it can kind of anchor us in on some knowledge, because we're noticing a lot of big gaps in knowledge on how to read music, and making sure we can interpret just basically what the composer wants us to do, and then after that we can embellish or really try to make it our own and make it special. But if we don't know what the composer even wanted to do first, then I don't know what we're doing. So, but that kind of takes us through March, and then after March there's we're going to California with a large chunk of the band, so we're gonna be flying over and doing some stuff and doing basically just a cultural trip, and giving the students something excited to be looking forward to. I know we upperclassmen sometimes can feel like it can get old year to year, not seeing a lot of change, and so it's nice to be able to give them once every 3 or 4 years something exciting and fun to do and to look forward to, and so it'll be a good time. And then we got a couple other festivals happening. We get to host a couple festivals at my school for band, and then jazz festivals. We like to travel for one of them, and do a couple others, and so, but it's honestly, this next semester is pretty packed with a lot of that. And so, just on top of doing your regular job, I've decided I'm doing all this composing and other things, and so I'm very blessed that I get to write some marching shows for some bands, and so I'm going to be getting to work on some of those as well in my spare time. And I need to plan my own band's marching band show and do all that kind of stuff, and so it'll keep me busy. And some people might ask, well, how do you have time to do all this stuff? And you just try to find ways to be efficient with the time that you're given, and just try to use every little moment at school to do all your school stuff. and then spend quality time with your family. And then if there's little moments at home in the evenings when we put the kids down and she's, my wife is doing whatever she needs to do, I can, take, some time here and some time there. Or a lot of times I'll do stuff like when I'm waiting for my kids, like I am here, or we have an honor band this next weekend over for a jazz honor band. So I'll just be sitting around, listening to them rehearse, so I can sit there and just write a bunch of music. And, it's not a big deal. And, it's just, I like to do all of I like to learn new things, and I like to do music. And the more that I engage I think the more music stuff that I'm able to do, the more I learn and the better job I can do for my students. And it just feels good to do it. And, beats having a normal job. I don't think I'd rather do anything else than, teach music and write music and create music with students, and just make those special experiences that I got to have when I was in high school, middle school. And so, I'm trying to learn a lot of the business stuff too, the business aspects of being a composer. And it's been a bit challenging, and I'm obviously not a business professional, but there's certain strategies that I've learned and that I'm working on and implementing and just trying to be consistent with, and things that I've learned as I've worked with other composers with my program and with other music professionals, and the advice that I've been given. And there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that not many people see. But a lot of people posting on social media post a lot of their best days and a lot of the good things, and that's just a small part of what life is like. And anybody who's close to me knows that there are a lot of hard things, and I do a lot of deep breathing and meditative. Sometimes I'll just sit and turn down the lights and just listen to water and drones and just try to calm down and be like, what are we gonna do? It's gonna be a hard time, and just try to calm yourself down if you can. But I think this next year, I just want to make sure that I'm maintaining an appropriate perspective on things and not get overworked over little things, and so that I can make sure that I can be the father that I need to be for my kids, and the husband I need to be for my wife. And the family is one of the things that kind of has been driving me to continue to do more, even though some people might see it as me getting pulled away from them. And we talk about it awful lot as a family, making sure that all this extra stuff isn't impacting on the time that I spend with them, and making sure I can give them my all too. But trying to use this to help improve some of our things in our lives too. I'm big onto the Dave Ramsey thing and wanting to make sure that we pay off some of our debts. And, I've been able to build up some debt with doing all of my master's stuff. But we got to start paying some of that down so we can get a little bit ahead on some things and make sure that we've got a good foundation financially for our kids later on. And but I've got some encouraging colleagues. They're willing to sit there and ask how I'm doing, and making sure that I'm taking care of myself and my wife. And my wife does probably the most and a lot of that. She is so patient and understanding most of the time with a lot of this stuff that I'm doing. And she's shared that sometimes it can be a little bit interesting, some of the things I'm choosing to post or choosing to do, but she's very, very gracious and very patient. And so, but this has been like a 30-minute video of me sitting here talking, and so it's been a good practice. So I'm gonna see how this turns out, but don't give up. You can do whatever you want to do. You don't need to make excuses. I can make all excuses too. We have a lot going on in what I do, and I can still find time to figure some stuff out. It just takes some sacrifice on some of the things that you want to do that are probably meaningless stuff, like just sitting around watching TV or scrolling through your phone or something. Do something meaningful aside from just obviously being with your family and doing that. So that's been my sitting in the dark stuff, and good luck this year.